I want to talk to you this morning about unstoppable faith and use our second reading from Hebrews as sort of a springboard. Faith, Paul writes, is the realization of what is hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Paul was writing to Hebrews, and the Hebrews were a Jewish community that had accepted Christ. And as a result of that, they immediately got kicked out of their synagogue. They were ostracized from their families and their community. Eventually, that led to persecutions where they lost property and even their very lives. And so the people, those Hebrews, were thinking to themselves, like, why should I do this? Well, why should I endure all this? Is it worth it being a Christian? And so Paul's writing to them to try to encourage their faith, telling them to remain persistent in their faith. Hebrews offers an example, one example after another, of how the ancients like Abraham never gave up. Biblical persistence is that pressing forward in faith even when it's hard, even when it seems impossible, because you trust in God's character and you believe in His promises. As you guys know, you see me try to clap my hands at the music. I have zero rhythm. I mean, zero. And so you shouldn't be surprised that that lack of coordination also made me a pathetic athlete. Being firstborn and being named after my father, I think all he wanted was a son who was good in sports. And he enrolled me in every sport that was available. I was in bowling. I was in swimming, baseball, basketball. And the fact is, I just sucked. No matter what sport it was, I just was terrible. I remember being on I got it. And here's my hand, the ball hits me and the head knocks me out. And that was my history as an athlete. And you know what? At the end of every season, they have these like award shows where you come in, they give out the trophies. I hated that because I never got a trophy. Every year I had to sit there and watch other people get trophies. And I felt like, geez. And then one year my name got called. I'm, what? Really? And then I realized every other bench warmer's name got called. And we got up there and we got a trophy. It wasn't first place, it wasn't second place, it wasn't even third place. It said, if you had fun, you won. Instead of making me feel better about my lack of athletic skill, it was more or less officially recognized. It was recognizing my inadequacies. And I think that's part of the reason why I've never supported the idea of giving a trophy award to every child, a type of participation award. One could argue, why give a participation trophy to a kid if they didn't win anything? It's really not preparing them for life because that's not how life works. And in my experience, it made me feel worse, not better. I get the criticism, but let me offer you a different perspective this morning. You see, participation trophies were never meant to award performance. A participation trophy was meant to award persistence. It celebrated the kids who stayed committed throughout the season, even though they sat mostly on the bench. It celebrated the kids who, after loss, still showed up. It celebrated kids who did not quit when things didn't go their way. It celebrated kids who kept showing up even when they didn't feel like it. It is meant to award persistence. If you look at it from that perspective, it teaches that some battles in life are not won because you stood out, but because you kept showing up. Now, hold that thought and let's move it to the area of faith. You see, some of you, though you may not know it, are winning. Some of you are winning. Why? Well, many of you, maybe not all of you, but many of you got up this morning and brushed your teeth and thought of all the things you've got to get done today. You thought of all the things that have to happen. And you sort of like let a thought run through your mind. Be honest, you're in church. Do I really have to go to church today? Do I really have to show up today? You know, I've got all these things, and you could easily, you could easily talk yourself out of it. Many people do. Okay, I'll skip church. But you didn't. Some voice within you said to you, no matter how much I got to do, no matter how tired I am, nothing's going to keep me from going to church today. Listen, you're not here because you're perfect. You're not here because everything in your life you got figured out. You could have felt sorry for yourself. You could have rationalized any number of reasons why you should skip church today, but you didn't. You could have told yourself, I refuse to let disappointment win. I refuse to let bitterness win. I refuse to let anger win. I refuse to let my fear win. I refuse to let my problems win. I refuse to let my doubt win. You may not look like it. You may not even feel like it. But you're winning because you showed up. Now, the devil doesn't like folks who come to church. The enemy wants your expectation to have an expiration. The enemy doesn't like it when you have faith, but he hates it when your faith is persistent. The enemy doesn't want you to keep showing up. The enemy will whisper in your ear, sink into your bones. After all you've been through, just like the Hebrews, after all you've been through, the enemy is hoping that you'll be willing to throw in the towel. After all the disappointments you faced, the losses you've endured, the hurts that you've experienced, the devil is hoping that surely you will say that you are done with God. But you had the nerve to show up today. You're winning, and you don't even know it. Some battles in life are not won because you stood out, but because you kept showing up. Most marriages are because you endured and were persistent. Because you have a persistent faith. A persistent faith is not about perfection. It's not about performance or pursuing anything and everything on your own power and strength. Persistent faith isn't necessarily doing more. It might even be about doing less and trusting God to do more. You see, the real test of faith is not how big your faith starts, but how long your faith stays. How long that faith lasts. If you're here, even though you don't feel like it, you're winning. You have an unstoppable faith. And I just ask you to pray for the grace to grow the faith that keeps showing up. Let the church say. I think we have a blessing today for all those who